Greetings. We are the group number 4, and today we are going to be presenting chapters 1 to 8 of our Capstone project. My name is Jairus of the section 55010.
My name is Isiah Enerio of section 55010.
My name is Escalona Lester from section 55010. So, Chapter 1, Introduction by Via Mare. 47 years of operation. Identify issues unique to fine dining establishment to utilize a feasible solution to said issues. Via Mare is more than just a restaurant. It is a statement to the enduring spirit of Filipino cuisine. Their journey traces back to the humble beginnings of home kitchen, bustling marketplace, and coastal village where fresh ingredients are transformed into delectable dishes that captivate the senses. Next slide. Chapter 2, Company Profile. Founded by Miss Glenda, and in their first branch is located in Bagtigan Street, Legazpi, Makati, and current branch in NCR is 14. Their style of services is American or European, recognized for providing service to international heads of states, popular figures, international events, the official caterer of Malacanang Palace. Next slide. So that is the map. 65 to 35 minutes away to Perpetual and Via Mare. Next slide. Company Trust. Their mission is to stay relevant with the mainstream trends as such with the rise of coffee shops and in their visions to be the top most prestigious dining catering service establishment in the Philippines and as the world-class contender to set the standards of fine dining in our country. Next slide. Core values to treat guests as family, to make decisions based on growth and principle, not anger or ego. Goals, it is to continuously provide prestigious dining services to its guests and to be the benchmark of the Filipino fine dining services, same as in the objectives. So next slide. Mid-level management, they are responsible for leading and employee, directing, planning for tomorrow's operation, and collaborating with top management and the other departments. Next slide, please. Low-level management, they are must know the responsibilities of their managers. Next slide. Employees, they are responsible for operating equipment and tools necessary for establishment to functions. Mid-level management, they must fit and basic employee requirements, physically able, college graduate, and mentally able. Low-level management, they must fit the basic employee requirements, physically able, college graduate, and mentally able. Employee, they must be college graduates and physically and mentally fit. So next slide. Chapter 3, Standards Operating Procedures. Acknowledge customer presence. Here is some of the acknowledging customer presence. I want to say it all because it is so many. So I will just present it to you.
Chapter 4, Statement of the Problem. Customer's perspective. The meal is not prepared as requested. Food quality is lackluster and poor. Does not appreciate the ambience. Employee's perspective. Increased workload due to staff shortage. Communication is difficult at times. Speed and order of operations becoming hindered by mass volumes of customers. Management's perspective. Lack of manpower, food hazards, and internal conflicts with other employees. Researcher's perspective. Ingredients are procured from unsanitary suppliers. SOPs in acknowledging guests is not practiced, and lack of a dedicated manager. Chapter 5, Service Delivery System Diagram. So, customer number 1, failure to meet customer request. F&B attendant failure, lack of manager oversight, request was not communicated properly. Customer number 2, food is bland. Food controller failed to add salted egg toppings. There are a large volume of orders. Use of older stocks. Customer number 3. Environment is loud and the diners are unpleasant. Lack of physical partitions, social climbers, and live band performances. Employee number 1. Forced to take more duties and responsibilities. Lack of personnel on bar areas, lack of personnel on reception area, lack of a manager, and lack of F&B attendance. Employee number 2. Difficulty in communication due to environment. Large volume of people within the premises, lack of nonverbal communication system, and live bands. Employee number 3. Slow and disorganized flow of operations. High number of customers, hindered ability to serve, and lack of proper management support. Of OIC number 1. Lack of manpower, lack of applicants, and slow employee turnover. Poor employee retention. OIC number 2. Food hazard concerns. Lack of coordination with other departments, food control failure, unsanitary storage conditions, and lack of pest control and deep cleaning procedures. OIC number 3. Internal conflicts with other departments and employees. Lack of coordination with other employees. Lack of a branch manager and lack of emotional conflicts. Purchase of ingredients from researcher number 1. Purchase of ingredients from unsanitary locations. Cost cutting. Third-party suppliers fail to practice risk management practices. And ease of logistics and access, and expensive alternatives and limited availability. Researcher number 2. Other SOPs are not practiced. Staff wanted to be more efficient at the cost of quality service, influx of customers, and staff of lacking of training. Researcher number 3. Lack of an on-site manager. Internal conflicts, stressed out of work, and low employee turnover rate.
Moving on to chapter number 6, the researcher's recommendation. For the customer perspective, the statement or problem is the meal is not prepared as requested. Our recommendation here is to reassess and develop new SOPs for the employees to ensure that the employees can take note of the customer's request. Next slide. Food quality is lackluster and poor. Our recommendation here primarily focuses on retraining the kitchen staff on the new SOPs to ensure that the staff is aware and is competent at following the SOPs by the company. We can also conduct an investigation of the main commissary to which the establishment gets its primary food items from. We can do this by conducting internal audits or analysis of possible problems utilizing an Ishikawa or cause and effect diagram. Moving on, the customer does not appreciate the ambience. Our recommendation here is relatively simple. Given that there are two dining areas, one is the main lobby or the main dining area, which is closer to the band or the band stage. The other dining area, which is a lot less used and a lot more isolated, is the lobby dining area, which more likely than not is used for reservations. However, there would come a time where there would be no reservation, and for that reason, this should serve as an additional option for the customer for their satisfaction and relaxation. Moving on, the employee's perspective. So stated here is their increased workload due to staff shortage. So our recommendation here is to have the managers monitor and ensure that the staff knows and is following the SOPs. By following the SOPs, this ensures that the staff can conduct the needed tasks within the company standards and within safety. We should also consider for the manager the staff's strengths and weaknesses when giving out tasks. So with that said, we should have the manager assess or be familiar with with their employees, staff, or with their staff's strengths and weaknesses. Sorry about that. Moving on. Communication can be difficult at certain times. This is because During peak hours, there's going to be a large mass of customers typically, and this usually occurs at the afternoon. So our recommendation here is to ensure that the staff follows the SOPs and if necessary, reorient the staff on the organizational hierarchy. This is to ensure that the staff knows what to do uh, whenever the situation comes that the employees are in a bit of a pickle. Furthermore, by okay, the speed and order of operations becoming hindered by mass volumes of customers. Our recommendation here is to increase the chairs in the waiting area, relocating these chairs from the stock room so that there would be more customers to accommodate whilst maintaining order within the dining area. Next slide. Management's perspective, the lack of manpower. Our recommendation here is that the establishment may conduct joint programs with other educational institutions, such as conducting live demonstration of catering services and dining area operations for HRM students, and also offering OJT programs. Moving on, food hazards. Our recommendation here for the management's perspective is to develop a pokayuk between the food controller or dispatchers to the waiters. It could be a simple bell to inform the waiters that the food has been thoroughly um, prepared to ensure that there are no food hazards. Moving on, internal conflicts with other employees. Our recommendation here is to employ team building exercises and events that may strengthen the bond within the employees. Moving on, researchers' perspective. We've observed as researchers that the establishment is procuring ingredients from unsanitary suppliers, and as such, this could cause food hazard risks. Our recommendation is to change to a different type of supplier, which is still cost effective while still maintaining the freshness of the food items. Our recommendation is the new Alabang wet market, which we have assessed to be very clean compared to the other areas. Moving on, some guests are not acknowledged. So in this SOP, we have noticed that the staff neglect the oncoming customers. Our recommendation here is to have the manager or the assistant to be at an observing or overlooking area or to work at least in that area to ensure that the customers are always addressed. Moving on, the observers also noticed the lack of an on-site manager. As per the history of the establishment, the manager or the actual manager resigned because they couldn't conduct their duties. So our recommendation is to promote the current officer in charge, which is the assistant captain waiter. The reason for this is because not only does he have the experience, he is also very much well competent as a leader. And then this sums up our recommendations. Moving on. Here is our appendices. These are all collated from online reviews. Here we have our Google Form survey from current and non-current employees of the same branch. And this also includes the manager. Moving on. Here we have the establishment's menu card. And lastly, we have the additional documentary photos. Next slide. Our references. And this sums up our presentation. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.